To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
What is it about Disney that makes us happy? Is it the magical whistle as your ticket is scanned at the main gate? Is it the seafaring smell of pirate water? Or is it charting a course to a land where you may never grow up? Whether it's singing a familiar song, watching a movie, or riding your favorite attraction for the 100th time, Disney undeniably has a way to warm our hearts, believe in magic, and bring joy into our lives. This is Main Gate Magic, a podcast where we break down and discuss the infectious happiness, delight, and thrill of all things Disney. Hey, welcome everybody to another episode of Main Gate Magic. I believe we are now on episode 24 of our humble little show. It's been going by so quickly, and we're at the end of the month where we've had a lot of special guests, and we have another great one lined up for you today. But before we get to that, let me go ahead and start going around the screen at our co-hosts. First, we have my lovely wife and my Disney partner in crime, Miss Lisa. How you doing, baby?
I'm good. Hi, everyone.
Hello. And we have the lovely Miss Leia. How are you doing, Leia? It's good to see you again.
I am doing fantastic.
Great. And welcoming to the stage for the very first time, Mr. Isaac Mr. Isaac C. Singleton Jr. Isaac, thank you very, very much for being on our show today and for taking the time to come back, because we did have some technical difficulties last time, but we got it all figured out, and we're happy to have you here.
Well, glad to be invited. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So just a quick reminder to those who are watching for the very first time, the chat is open. If anybody wants to pop in and say hello on YouTube or Facebook, please feel free to drop a note in the comments, or if you have a question for Isaac, please feel free to drop it in there. I will throw it up on screen and we will address it as we go. Was that our door?
Yep.
This is a live show, folks. This kind of stuff happens. So Lisa's going to take care of that while we go ahead and get started. All right. So, Isaac, let's get started with the first question. So, when did you know that you wanted to be an actor? You've done quite a few movies now. And I'm just going to name some of the ones from Disney that I know you were in, which is obviously Pirates of the Caribbean, which I feel like is what I know you the most from.
Okay.
But added recently to the Disney roster now is the Marvel stuff, so we can now include Deadpool, which you've been in before.
Yes.
And you were also the voice of the animated Thanos from the Marvel cartoons, correct?
Yes. And for their cartoons and their video games also, yeah.
Video games too. That's awesome. Yeah.
Black Panther, Lego movie also.
The Lego movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when did you know you wanted to get into acting?
It was a sign from God that God showed me when I was a sophomore in college. Before that, I was going to be a commodities broker. My goal since 8th grade was to work in the commodities market and be a commodities broker. Then God showed me some sign to show me since I was 4 years old. I was going to be an actor. So, okay, God, I'll listen to you, and I'll transfer to university. I transferred to university and changed major. That's what I've been doing ever since. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So then from high school, did you ever do any like theater in high school or anything like that?
I've been in public speaking since I was in 9th grade. And I've done plays, and I've always been doing the characters and stuff since I was a child, but never thought I was going to be doing this as a living. I just was doing that for the fun of it.
Did your parents ever kind of encourage you to kind of get into acting because you were kind of playful like that?
No, they didn't. They were pretty much let me make my own decisions as what I wanted to do as far as my future was concerned. Yeah, so yeah. They knew since 8th grade I was going to be a commodities broker, and then when I came home my sophomore year of college, I flew back to Germany, and at Christmas time, told them I was going to be an actor. I said, okay, if that's what you want to do, go right ahead. And that's what they were very supportive. I was very thankful for that.
Wow. So, but I'm sorry, maybe I missed it, but why a commodities broker? That seems very specific. Did you have somebody in the family that actually was a commodities broker?
Now that's where it goes back to the whole signs that God had been showing me since I was a small child. But this is a longer story than this podcast can take.
You'd be surprised.
When I was 4, if people asked me what I wanted to be for a living, I would have told them I was going to be a mad scientist. But I always got these visions I always got visions going through my head like a film reel constantly. Every time I saw this vision, there was a bunch of people sitting in a room. This blue light shone on their faces. They were looking at the face light with interest. Then that answered the question. So when I was 4, I wanted to be a mad scientist. As I got older, I wanted to be a football player. Then I want to be an eye doctor like my dad for a little while. And then 8th grade, I said I want to be a commodities broker. But no matter how old I was, every time someone asked me what I was going to do for a living, that vision of people sitting in the room with the blue light shining on their face would always pop up, and they're looking at the light with interest. But then another vision would pop in, I'd answer the question. So yeah, so now flash forward to my sophomore year of college. I'm an economics major, and I'm having a great time. I loved economics. I liked it all. But I decided I was going to take a theater course that semester for my elective. And the theater director at my university asked me to come audition for one of the plays. I was at Florida A&M University at the time. I got the lead in the play of the theater majors in audition.
Oh, wow, nice.
And then the theater major was like, man, y'all think about doing this for a living. I'm like, I like it, but I'm going to be a commodities broker. Anyway, that same semester, the stock market made a recorrection. A lot of other markets went way down. I started evaluating why I wanted to be a broker. I did a pros and cons list. The pros list was very short. I could make a lot of money. The cons list, I had to be up at 4:30 in the morning to be ready for the markets, build a clientele list, all these other things, that being inside a building all day, all this kind of stuff, right? So I started praying to God about it because I'm a Christian man. Anyway, I decided I'm going to go see a $1 movie because I could afford $1 in college to go see a movie. So I walked across my campus, which is Florida A&M University's, walked across Florida State's campus to get to the $1 theater in town. And while I was sitting in the theater, the lights came down. And all of a sudden, the voice inside of my head said, Isaac, turn around. When I turned around, I saw the exact people I hadn't seen since I was 4 years old, where they were sitting, the clothes they were wearing, and the blue light shine on their faces, a theater reflection on their faces looking at the theater screen. I was like, okay, God, I guess you're telling me this is what I'm supposed to do. Now,
wow.
On the way home, now I'm praying to God, saying, okay, God, I'm in Tallahassee. There's no film going on here, and I know I want to do film and TV, and I plus want to finish college. What can I do now? I get back to my campus. I get in my on-campus apartment. I walk in. I turn the TV on. 11 o'clock news is coming on right then and there. The very first thing the newscaster said is, Hollywood has come to Florida. Universal Studios and MGM Studios in Orlando are doing major film and television production. So I said, okay, if I can get to Orlando, but I didn't even know of a university there. And I found out about University of Central Florida, which is now the second largest university in our country. I transferred to UCF. All my credits transferred. I changed my major in communications, got my degree. I started pursuing acting and made a living as an actor in Florida, and then moved out to California. Anyway, I moved to California, and 8 weeks later, on my birthday, without even having an agent yet, I got on the X-Files. That was my first job here.
No kidding.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
That's
so I was
awesome.
introduced to you a lot earlier than I actually thought because I was an avid fan of the X-Files.
Absolutely. What episode did you do?
An episode called The Triangle, probably the last season of X-Files. This was 1998. It was a ship disappeared in Bermuda Triangle in 1938 and reemerged in 1998. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm so glad.
That sounds familiar. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chris Carter directed it. I had to audition for Chris Carter for my call back, and he got an Emmy for that movie or that episode because I was in it.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
I said he got an Emmy because I was in it, but I know that's not right. He's a great director, so that's why.
Well, you know, God does work in mysterious ways. Maybe you needed to be on that show in order for him to win that Emmy. I mean, you know, things happen for crazy reasons, right?
Working in mysterious ways, because that's how I've been able to make a living at this for so long, because he's really directed a lot of different things that people can't even believe I got into. So yeah.
That's an amazing story, man. Thanks for sharing with that. I appreciate it.
Story. That's the thing about it. It's a true story.
Yeah. I love it. No, it's fantastic. Before we continue on with the questions, I'm going to just go ahead and recognize a few people in the audience. Some people that you will probably actually know that work with us on Adventurous Ideas. Patricia's one of our writers. She is our #1 fan as well. And she says, hi, everyone. Hey, Patricia.
Hi,
thanks
Patricia.
for coming on again.
Hi, Patricia.
Hello, Patricia.
My father is in the audience and says, I'm here.
Hey, Dad.
I can tell his enthusiasm. Yeah. Odie. Yep. And Mr. C. Andrew Nelson, who I'm sure that you are very familiar with and have done conventions and things like that with in the past, and says, wow, what a great testimony. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that. And then Mr. Jerry Cornell, who you also are aware of, says, hi, y'all. Because that sounds like Jerry, right?
Hello, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Hello, Newman.
We'll be seeing. I'll be seeing Andrew this weekend at the Lodi Comic Con. We're going to be heading to that one together, and then we'll be going to Salt Lake City in October for MouseCon. So that'll be fun.
I'll have a great time.
Yes. Okay. So I'm assuming that you, based on that story, you're the only person that actually ever pursued acting in your family. Is that right?
That is correct.
Nobody else, huh? Not even after you became an actor. Nobody's like, oh, well, let me just go ahead and since you're doing it, I bet you I could do it too. Nobody else, huh?
Yeah, no. I have an older sister. She's an occupational therapist. My younger brother works in Las Vegas. He works for a corporation that helps that really provides the casinos and hotels with their spirits and wines and all that kind of stuff. So he goes and he's in that world. He knows that world.
Nice. On to the Disney stuff, because that is our show. We're a lot about Disney, and we got to talk about the Disney stuff that you've been in. And the biggest one that I can think of, like I said earlier, is Pirates of the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. So walk me through the process on this. You had an agent by then, I'm assuming, because you've had experience before that, obviously.
I didn't have an agent at that time either. No
agent.
Not a manager at that time, but no agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. All right. But were they the ones? Sorry?
I had a commercial agent.
Okay.
But
You've done commercials before.
I didn't have a theatrical agent. I had just a manager at that point.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. So then how did you get the role? I mean, was there a posting, or is the manager that helped you? Walk us through that. And
you got long stories you want me to tell, because there's things you got to figure out. I got to go backwards to sweep forward to the front to get to the story.
But that's what I love about this show, is that we get to know information about you and how you entertained us in the past. I mean, people love this kind of stuff. I love it.
Okay, then here's the bottom line. When I was in Florida, I worked in film and TV. Sometimes the leads were mainly hired out of California. So when you got in Florida, you either got on a movie as an under 5, which means you only had 5 lines or under. A lot of times I got on a movie as a stunt man, because I learned how to do stunts working at Disney and Universal at that point. Neat. But at the same time, but also I would get on shows I'd get on there as an extra, just to see how a set worked and that kind of stuff. I was still new. I just remember how shows would treat you as an extra, which was like they treat you like a second-class citizen a lot of times, which is not nice. But hey, we're all people and we all have goals and dreams, and sometimes you figure you're just an extra. Well, I remember saying to myself, when I become the lead, I'm not going to treat extras this way. I'm going to treat them with respect and dignity, because I know what they're trying to achieve and I know what I try to achieve. So when I become the lead, I'm not going to treat them badly. So sure enough, I got the Apes, the one that Tim Burton shot with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes.
And Michael Clark Duncan and a lot of the people that were on that film.
Yes.
And I was now lead on that show. I had a 4-hour makeup every single day. I played 4 characters in that movie. And that movie was 8 months long. So we shot that movie in a lot of places, like Lake Peril, Arizona. A lot of different places we were shot this movie, Lake Powell. But anyway, they had a core group of extras they took with us everywhere we went, because they had to be the background gorillas and chimpanzees and stuff like that, right? And there was always one gorilla that always talked to me. He was one of the extras. And he was always telling me how he was an armorer. He did vacuum form, all these different things like that. I'm like, that's cool, man. He was really, and he and I, over the course of the film, just talking to each other, just became friends. It was just nice to talk to him. But once again, I'd go off, do my makeup, whatever, and I'd see him later on set or whatever, but that was that. Anyway, when the movie ended, he brought me a vacuum formed like medallion he'd made of the Seamos character from the movie. He goes, hey, I'm going to tell you back. I'm like, this. He said, well, we exchanged phone numbers. And that was that. So anyway, about a month or 2 later, he called me up and goes, hey, Isaac, remember me? I'm like, yeah, I remember you. He says, hey, Disney just came to my studio. They took pictures of all my swords. Remember I told you I'm an armor? I'm like, yeah, I remember that. He said, well, they took pictures of all my swords. They're going to do this movie called Pirates of the Caribbean. I read the script. They want a big Samoan guy to play this role, but I think it'll be great for you if you ought to try to get your agent or manager to get you in there. I'm like, well, thank you very much. Anyway, I called my manager. At first, he didn't think I could get it. So I'm like, okay. So I called my commercial agent. They sent me in for it. And I went and auditioned. And then I didn't hear anything back for a month. But I met the casting director. She'd been on tape and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, a month later, my manager called me. Hey, Isaac, I got you an audition for Pirates of the Caribbean. I said, well, I auditioned out a month ago. Why didn't you tell me? I said, well, you didn't really think I could get it, remember? So anyway, long story short, is he called me back an hour later. So I got you a meeting with the director. I said, now we're talking. So if I get the meeting with the director, a lot of times when directors see me, talk to me, they realize, hey, this guy would be good.
He's the guy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Get to see my personality. They know I can do the lines. They know I can do the role. And they can see me as an intelligent man. Sure, they want me on my set then, because if you don't know me, you just see me as a big Lomax type of guy. I don't know if you know that or not, but people are like,
never thought that about you.
Scary. I don't know. But anyway, look, long story short, I went in, auditioned, showed me the one to come in with an accent. I came with an accent. And they called the next day and offered me the movie. But it was great because when I went to audition for the director, there was only 2 guys waiting for me, waiting for the role, 2 other guys. And I went last and I got the role. It was great.
Awesome.
Andrew says, I can't imagine anyone else in that role. And I have to agree because there's a lot of intimidating characters in that movie. But you, sir, you are like not just intimidating even as a dead, person, like when the moonlight hits and the special effects kick in.
Mm-hmm.
You are. I mean, I've seen you in real life. We've met before, and you are a little intimidating. You're very, very tall, big guy, and you've got this really deep voice that you personify this like just guy that's just like you kind of tower over people. So has that ever influenced what you've been able to get as roles in movies from that point forward, or even in the past?
Yeah, that does influence it for sure, because I'm not going to play the little guy that I'm not going to play him. That's not who I'm going to be. I'm not going to be that like the guy who's like the nerdy little guy who's fixing the AV equipment in high school. That's not going to be my character.
No, that's my character.
That's not the guy they want me to play.
Yeah. Now,
don't get me wrong. I played good guys and bad guys, but still the stature is wonderful because it works either way. And but I used to be a small person. When we moved to Germany, I was 16 years old, and I just finally got to be 6 feet tall that summer. I weighed 145 pounds.
Oh my goodness!
Big figure.
Uh-huh.
I started playing football that fall, and I grew to 6'2", and I was 175 pounds. And in my senior year, I was 6'4". I grew to 195 pounds, and then by the sophomore year of college, I was 6'5", I weighed 220 pounds. So I just was working out and eating right and staying in shape. If I had no idea I was going to become an actor, I was going to be a commodities broker. So I was going to be like, being able to, hey, you better buy these commodidies from me. I'm just kidding.
And give them a crab pose, right? Yeah. Now you said this was all in Germany, right? So I'm guessing
my last 2 years of high school were in Germany. My first 3 years of college, Germany was home.
Wow.
Was that because your father was in the military?
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force. He was not a doctor in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. And what was it like out there? Do you have a lot of memories of stuff out there?
Moving to Germany was probably the best thing that happened in my life, because it was a perfect age because I had my international driver's license. My parents trusted me enough to take trips without them because I was old enough. I feel sorry for people I meet that lived in Germany when they were 5 or 6 years old. They didn't get the experience that I did, because I got the experience as a dependent, but also an adult. So, I'd come to the States to go to college, and I go back to Germany, and in the summer, we would travel during Europe during the summer. So it was great.
You were kind of a permanent foreign exchange student in a manner, I guess, right?
In a way, I guess. But what happens is the Department of Defense sets up schools just like they do here in the States. So we have high schools just like they do in the States. We got football, we got baseball, we have basketball. All our teachers are speaking English to us because they hired American teachers to fly over to teach us the same exact subject they teach in the States over there. So it's probably the same. It's just a high school plopped in another country, American high school in another country. So we had 3 divisions of football. So that's how big the thing was. We had football, like I said, baseball. Plus we had Army and Air Force. So we had enough bases. We had enough teams to play against for football and baseball and all these other sports, cross country, everything.
Did you pick up German while you were there? Like, do you still know any of the language at all?
I still know some of it. I did take German language as my foreign language when I was in high school, and then when I got to college, I said, "What the heck? I'll just go ahead and take German as my foreign language in college." Also, so I did, but I was never fluent at it. But I was able to get around, and even now, when I turn the TV on and I watch a movie and they're speaking German, I can understand what they're saying. But I was never. I can't sit down and speak German to you and start talking politics right there. I can't do that, but I can. My conjugation has gotten bad now. Sorry, Herr Volt. That was my German teacher in high school.
Okay.
He's a great guy, though. Sebastian.
Well, hopefully he's watching it, and you can actually say your side.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's watching.
Right. Hey, we were during our show last week. We reached somebody in, where was it? It was like South America somewhere, wasn't it? Or
I believe
it was Argentina. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the furthest this show has reached. But I mean, I think it was a lot to do with the fact that our YouTube star that we had on had people that were fans from all over the world, so that definitely helped.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jerry Cornell says he loved your performance in Deadpool, And I think that's pretty funny because tell us about your performance really quick, because I don't know if everybody that's watching or listening has ever seen Deadpool, but you definitely had a stunt scene in that movie. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was a whole lot more that I did. There was a whole scene that I did in that movie where me and that bar that we were all hung out, we're all mercenaries. That's why it's called the Deadpool. And the Deadpool is we're trying to see who's going to die first. Whoever dies first, you win the Deadpool if you bet on that person. But anyway,
Right.
Wade, which is Deadpool, had me in the Deadpool. So he sent a blowjob, which is a drink, everybody. Sent a blowjob from me to this other guy named Buck. My character's name is Booth. And Buck came over and sent a blowjob on my table because he was offended by this. I didn't know what was going on. He punched me in the face, and that started a whole big bar brawl. But before that, I was talking to these guys about some guy that I had my gun in his mouth and all this kind of stuff. That scene got cut out, which it didn't matter about that scene. Understanding a lot of actors were like, my scene got cut. I understand sometimes the scene isn't about you. The scene is about the movie. So my scene got cut out, but the whole meaning of that scene was to see me get beat up because trying to get me killed in the Deadpool, but I lived. So
I remember they put like a mirror up to your mouth just to see if you were still breathing and everything. And I think I remember you from the second one too. You were in that as well, correct?
No, it's funny. A lot of people think I'm in the second one, and a lot of people think I'm in more than one Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm just in the first one.
No, I knew you were only in the first Pirates, but for some reason I thought I saw you back in the same bar in the second one, but I'm obviously mistaken.
Yeah, the one there.
Alrighty. Well, awesome roles everywhere you've been. I mean, whether they've been like, long roles, speaking roles, non-speaking roles, I mean, and they cut stuff. I mean, you're living the dream, man. I love it. It's fantastic. You must be happy still doing this, obviously. I mean,
I love what I do for a living. It's so much fun. Get to make a joke. I mean, this past week Yes, go ahead and ask.
Oh no, I'll remember. You finish.
No, I'm just saying this weekend was good. I went to a screening of a film that I did on Sunday, and then Friday one of my movies released in theaters this past Friday also. So that's just a good weekend for me. It was good. And then also Friday I went to a screening of another film that I was in. These are
Awesome.
So I was just fun. So I just do these different things. Sometimes they're gigantic films, sometimes they're not so big, but I just love acting. So yeah, this is
the dream.
3 different films that came out. One of them is in nationwide theaters now. It's called Transformers 1. I don't know if you've heard of it or not, but I'm in that.
Yes, I am very much looking forward to seeing that because I am a huge 80s nerd, and Transformers was definitely my thing. And I've seen the trailers for this, and it looks hilarious.
It does look good.
I look forward to seeing it also. I haven't seen it yet either, but I'm going to go see it.
Yeah.
What's your question, Leia?
Yeah, Isaac, I was wondering, so it's kind of a 2-part question. When you get a script for a character, what is your process of thinking of how to audition for it? And also, I'm just kind of getting this from you. Do you kind of have like a confidence that the part is almost yours? Like when you're really into a character, like do you just have like this almost like you have it before you get it? Like some people are just so confident.
Okay, I can tell you this. There has been many times I'm like, okay, to answer your first part of your question, my process is I go back to the basic of acting: who, what, when, where, and why, with as far as the characters. A lot of times I don't see the whole script. I just see these scenes that I'm going to audition with. So I don't even know what's going on sometimes to the rest of the movie. I don't even know. Sometimes I audition for things and I don't even know the name of the show because they don't want to spoil it or they don't want anybody to know what it is before you get on there. Like when I got on Mandalorian, I had no idea what I was auditioning for. A friend of mine called me up and said, "Hey, Isaac, remember me?" I'm like, "Yeah." He says, "Hey, there's a role I want you to come in for. They want you to come in for a fitting. Would you come do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll come." I went through the fitting process and all that kind of stuff. They said, "Okay, we want you for this role." I'm like, "Okay, great." And then after I got it, they're like, "Oh, by the way, this is the Mandalorian. We don't want people to know about what it is. It's being called." Then they called the code name for it was Huckleberry. So like, okay. So yeah, but the answer to your second part of your question is yes. There's sometimes when I just like, I just feel like, yeah, I'm going to get this because I'm just going to show them what this character needs. Because sometimes I've gone in for auditions and the director don't even know exactly what they want. I have to show them, especially a lot of times my voiceover for sure, but sometimes I show that maybe something even they weren't even thinking about. And I'm like, and I get it, because I have an idea what this character would be like and what the people would want to see and what I'd want to see if I was watching it. So I go in there with that attitude.
That's a great way to do it.
I
That
love
sounds like
that.
a great process.
But speaking of Pirates of the Caribbean, when I got up that day, I was like, I'm going to get this movie. I just said, but it wasn't a cockiness about it. It was almost
No.
reading the scene I'm supposed to do. My audition scene was a scene when you first see me, and Elizabeth Swain's get brought on the ship, and I'm talking to Pintel and Rigetti. She steps forward and starts talking. I smack her until her speak when spoken to.
Yes.
That was my audition scene.
Oh wow.
And I remember even talking to Gore before I started. He was telling me what the other actors had done. He didn't want them to do it. I said, well, I don't know why they were doing that. I would do it this way. And I did it. And he didn't know I was going to do the accent. I started with the accent. You're like, oh, wait. He said, she was like, yeah, I want him to do an accent for you. I did the accent. And then they're like, oh, well, thank you. And I left and I called the next day, like I said. But also, I like Planet Apes. I went and auditioned for Planet Apes. Now, I'd gotten on the Planet Apes before as a stunt guy, but I didn't want to be a stunt guy in that movie. So I called my commercial agent and said, hey, would you please submit me theatrically for it? They said, Isaac, they don't have a script yet. And I said, when they get a script, please submit me theatrically for it. And they're like, okay. So sure enough, she called me 3 weeks later. They've got a script now. They want you to have an audition. And so I remember I knew what I knew what the character needed. I ended up playing 4 characters in that movie, by the way, not just 1, 4.
Wow.
Wow.
It saved Sony, probably saved them $500,000 in probably makeup costs. They had to hire 3 other actors, run all their makeups off for them to run their scenes, because all of us had individual makeups that only fit our faces. It wasn't like a mask to put on. We had individual makeups made specifically for our faces. And so if I could play 4 characters and just put me in a different costume or put different hair on my face, make it more gray, I'm a different gorilla. And no one's going, hey, wasn't that the same guy that was in that other scene over there?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know who Kevin Thompson is by any chance?
Kevin Thompson? No, I do not. Oh, wait, he's a makeup artist, isn't he?
No, he's a little person, and he's been in a lot of different movies, but he's mostly known for being an Ewok in Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
And what you're saying about the apes reminds me of this. We had him on the show as well, and he actually played multiple Ewoks from the movie as well. And anytime that you see an Ewok doing a stunt, like swinging on a vine or, racing on the speeder or something like that, it's him in the suit. They just kind of switch suits with him, same way they did with you and the apes. So I think that's pretty cool, the way that those stories kind of... Now, I'm going to go ahead and just pop up on the screen for those who are watching and want to rewatch. This is your character, Bosun from Pirates of the Caribbean. So when I was saying intimidating earlier, that is an understatement. Now, you had like... makeup for those scars all over you, and I'm assuming you had like some stuff gunking up your teeth and everything, and a lot of accessories and stuff like that. But one of the questions that I had for you was not including that movie, because it doesn't seem like it took that long, but like for Apes or for The Mandalorian, which we have another picture here as well. There's your character from The Mandalorian.
Yeah, the Twi'lek.
Yes, a Twi'lek. What is the longest amount of time that you have spent in a chair getting makeup and prosthetics done for any of your characters?
4 hours.
4 hours.
4 hours. Planet Apes was a 4-hour makeup. Galaxy Quest was a 3-hour makeup every day. And and Pirates was 3 hours makeup every day also.
Wow.
So, those keloid marks, the scarification, that's called keloids. Those are keloids. And they had to put that on my body, and they had to stencil it on, peel it off, then tack it all down, then paint them. And after that was all done, then they had to shellac my body with this reddish brown stuff to make me look sweaty and dirty looking,
Yeah, dirty pirate. Of
but
course,
but I was eye candy for the ladies. As you saw, I had no shirt on. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Except for when you were dead and then you had no chest. It was all a corpse. And then it became, necrophilia. Never mind. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, please don't go there.
I try to keep this as family oriented as possible.
Thanks, man.
Andrew says he's kind of going back to your story from before. So that is so true. Sometimes you have no clue what the project is that you are auditioning for. Sometimes you begin shooting and you still don't know what it is. Now he's done many projects before too, and he still does acting roles every now and then, and of course the voice acting stuff with adventurous ideas and all that kind of stuff. So he's definitely knows what it's all about. Now, I got a question from, actually, let's go one question back here. I have no idea why my father is asking this, but Mr. Odie Braden says, does he play piano? Do you play the piano?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you play any musical instruments?
I am my instrument, so no, I don't play any musical instruments at all. I have 4 harmonicas, but I don't really know how to play them very well. I play the
You
trumpet.
have your voice, voiceover.
Huh?
Your voiceover. It's your
Yeah, I
instrument.
have various ranges of voice that I can do. That's good. This is my regular
Yes.
speaking voice, but some of my characters are lower, some of my characters are higher, some of my characters are grovelier. So yeah.
What are
That
some of
was-
the higher characters you've done? I know I have heard your voice high before, but in the stuff that you've done, what is the highest you've had to do your voice for?
I think I played an elf in the World of Warcraft at one point, but he
Okay.
wasn't really high, but he was an elf.
Okay. So it had to be a little bit more like airy, maybe, huh?
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Okay. All right. And then we have a question from Mr. Jerry Cornell. Do you have a favorite performance that you've done, perhaps a role that you wish you could continue doing?
Well, I really enjoy playing Thanos. That was fun because Thanos got to say the good stuff that the good guys can't say, even though Thanos is a good guy. A lot of people don't think of him that way, but he really is a good guy. He wants to snap his fingers, get half of the population gone, because that way there's more resources for everybody else, which is better for everybody else. So that's a good guy attitude if you ask him.
If you ask him, of course.
Yeah.
It's the common bad guy scenario.
And
You
also-
wipe out everybody so you can start fresh.
Well, but not everybody. Half of everybody.
Half of everybody. Sorry. Yes.
Everybody would be not good. That would be bad. But half of everybody, that's okay.
Well, unless you're what's the bad guy from Moonraker who wanted to destroy the world and repopulate it with his own special hand-picked society of perfect people. I forget his name, but that was another plot of one of the James Bond movies, and a lot of plots for other things too. So I mean, it's a
Like
common
World
thing,
War
but
II.
yeah, pretty much.
I always
It's
thought
based-
that with Thanos, though, because it's like his intentions were good, because when he sacrificed Gamora, you could tell it broke his heart. So he literally was doing it from a place of he felt that was the best solution for the universe, even though it was,
It
yeah,
comes from a place of love.
yeah.
Like she said in Weird Science, I only do it out of love.
That's right. Oh, funny enough, Kevin Thompson, the guy that I was telling you about,
Uh-huh.
he was the puppeteer of that monster that Chet turned into, and he's like, it's done out of love.
That was a big turd. That was a turd, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
With a man bun or ponytail or whatever the heck it was.
And it ate a fly. That was nasty.
Yes.
Yes, and he
And
ate a
it
fly.
lifted
He's
so
like, oh my
high.
god.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let's see. Julie says, from his skewed logic, I'm sure she's talking about Thanos, we live in an abundant universe. I think that was actually one of his lines, too. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the different point of view, the Star Wars different point of view, right? It's everybody's got an opinion about what is best for everybody else, and some people just have the power to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, do you prefer roles, because you said that you've done voice acting before, obviously,
Yeah.
and obviously you've been on screen. Do you have a preference as far as being on screen versus behind the screen and just using your voice only?
I really like being in front of the camera because it's just so much fun. And so when they say cut, then I get to go over to the snack area and eat snacks or go to my room and lay down, and they come get me after a couple of hours set up, and they say, okay, we're ready for you on set again. I like being on set because it's like a different world within it's a world within the world. And that world is every week can create what we want to create in that world, and let's have a good time. And they say wrap it in the day, you go home, you come back the next day, or you go back to your hotel, depending on whether you're on location or not. So I like being on set, but I do love but I do enjoy doing the voiceover because I walk into the booth. Sometimes, okay, like this, I work for Blizzard a lot. I've worked for them a lot, and I love working with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's sometimes they've invited me down to Irvine, to their studios down there. And their engineers, okay, we got 3 voices for you today. And they'll show me a picture of some creature they've got. And they'll say, what do you think this thing sounds like? Because they don't know. They know I can create that for them, though. And so one day we had 3 different voices we did. And I made up 3 voices right then and there for one of the characters. Like, okay, that's the voice. We went in the booth and did that in that voice. Came out and did the other ones. I made up like 9 or 10 voices for all the characters. They picked the 3 they liked. And I said, okay, let's do this one last because this one's going to be the one that's going to tear up my voice the most. And I said, let's get these first, and then let's do that one last, and we do them all. And it's great, but it's fun to collaborate with them because they don't know what they want sometimes. You as an actor, once again, if you know how to create, they see that, okay, that's exactly what that is. Okay, we knew it was going to be something good, but thank you very much for showing it to us. And that's validating as an actor too. You know, it really is.
Yeah, because then you can kind of step out of the shoes of the characters you normally play in camera and just be anybody you want with your voice. That is a great thing about voice acting.
That is true. Yeah. But also in the camera, though, you get to make up stuff. You get to make up your own character too. I mean, like we were talking about one of my earlier auditions. I did a TV series called Arliss. I don't know if you know that one. Robert Wall was the lead. He played a sports agent.
Yes, I've heard of
these sports guys. And it's funny because these guys are perfect players on the teams that they play on. They superstar athletes, but they had messed up home lives. They didn't know how to manage their own home lives. So artists had to manage their lives for them a lot of times. So anyway, I played a character. I think he was a basketball player named Greg Whitaker who wanted to. He wanted Arliss to get him more endorsement deals and speaking engagements like all these other athletes were getting. The problem is when Greg Whitaker talked, you couldn't understand a word he said, except when he said things like, you know what I'm saying? You know, so he was like that guy that was speaking English. You just didn't know what he was saying. And they couldn't script it. So when I went and auditioned for it, they said, look, Isaac, we couldn't script this. We just want you to tell us a story, which you'll understand what we're saying, but not understand what you're saying at the same time. I said, okay. And being an improv all those years, I just made up a story right then. It was on my way to audition. I was on the 101 freeway. I'm next to a woman who's driving her car at the same speed I'm at, but she's in her mirror doing her makeup with both hands while we're driving on the freeway.
Oh my God.
And I remember looking over her a couple of times. I'm like, okay, I need to get away from this lady because I wasn't going to get hit by some woman trying to put her makeup on.
Right.
So they were laughing when I still left the room. And by the time I got home, I got a call on my phone from the wardrobe department. When the wardrobe department calls you, you got the movie. So I'm like, I got the TV show. I'm like, oh, the wardrobe's calling me. All right. My agent didn't even know yet. So I'm like, okay, great. So yeah, my manager didn't know that one yet, but I was good. I was happy.
And that was a story that you just made up.
That was the story I made up right there on the spot. I told them that story, but they can understand what I was saying, but not understand what I was saying at the same time.
Right.
And I had to make up this language, but I was still speaking English. And yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Andrew has asked another question here. Is there a type of role you have not played yet that you would like to play?
There is a role I'd like to play, but I don't want to scare you guys because this is a family-friendly show. But I would love to play a character like Anthony Hopkins played in Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yes.
Someone who's very smart, very cold and calculating. I don't need to be all loud or whatever. Just by just speaking to you and just saying, looking you in the eye and saying, I look forward to seeing you later.
Right. Hello.
That'd be cool. I could see you playing that very well.
I can play that also. Yes.
Yeah. I agree.
And Isaac, I'm going to tell you really quick.
Yes.
When Jason and I went on our first date, we went to go see Red Dragon.
Okay.
Which is, of course, the sequel to. It's actually a prequel, but
that movie's in time
to Silence of the Lambs. So yeah.
Yeah. So instead of seeing a Disney movie or something, more family friendly or romantic, we go and see a movie about a prequel to a serial killer.
Right.
But it's an amazing movie. That and Silence of the Lambs, both amazing movies. And I don't know. I think good people that are good actors, they want to play bad people. I would love to play a villain someday. I would love to play like a monster or a creature of some kind. That would be amazing, even if it is just my voice.
It is so much fun because the good guys can only say certain things. The bad guys get to say the good stuff.
Right.
You
can kind of unhinge yourself a little bit.
There's a few favorite lines of mine, but one of my favorite lines of Thanos is he's like, "You Earthlings are so annoying," because he's attacking New York City, he's shooting stuff down there. They're running around screaming. He's like, "You Earthlings are so annoying. but your screams of fear and confusion do amuse me. You may continue those. And then he laughs.
Oh, that's so cool.
That is so cool.
So, yeah,
I
that
love
just
it.
made me laugh, you know.
Yeah.
Even reading the line before I even got in the booth was like, this is going to be good. I can't wait to see this.
Jerry says, I may have to write a special killer character for Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you did play a voice character for Jerry and for Andrew for Heroes of Extinction, which is hopefully coming out very, very soon. But I know that you've played multiple bad guys. Now, I want to kind of go back to the Thanos character really quick because I did a little bit of research on this before you actually played the voice of Thanos. There was other actors that played the voice of Thanos, I guess in other stuff where he was an animated character. And I got a list of the name of the character, or the actors that actually played them, including Jim Cummings, actually. I didn't know that Jim Cummings actually did a version of Thanos, but I think it was more of a kind of a cartoony fun kind of a thing, like they were making fun of Marvel stuff. So I'm just curious, like before you actually got the role for Thanos, did you actually get to talk to any of these guys and say, hey, what do you think is the character? Or did you just kind of did your own version of Thanos?
I did my own version. I didn't even listen to any prequel. I didn't listen to any past stuff at all.
Oh, okay.
I went in with my own ideas about the character itself and went into the voice I figured he was going to have. I mean, he's 9 feet tall. He weighs about 910 pounds. He's got this pruny chin. He wants world domination. He's in love with death, by the way. You don't know if you know that backline story of him. But yeah, so I didn't even hear any past things. And you're not going to believe how I got that show. How I tell us? My agent, I was a voiceover agent, and my agent called me and said, hey, Isaac, I just got you the role of Thanos. I'm like, well, how? I'm like, thanks. He goes, this is what happened. They called our agency looking for a certain actor to play Thanos. And my agent said, okay, well, send this stuff over, but I think you ought to listen to this other client we have too. And I'll send him over there just in case. And they called him back an hour later and said, okay, we want him instead. That's how that happened. Because my agent was smart enough to think about me. He knew what I could do. He said, hey, this guy will probably give you the nuance of the character you really want. You
got a reputation, my friend.
Well, and I might be trying to say I'm better than that other guy, but I just know that I knew that actor, and I know his acting is good, but a lot of times his characters are just I'm angry man character. He does that all throughout his acting and in film acting too.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that Thanos has more than just the megalomania aspect of himself. He's got comedic side to himself. I mean, he laughs a lot. He thinks a lot of stuff is funny. Even if people he's attacking don't think it's funny, he thinks it is because it is funny. It's funny. I mean, it's almost like when you watch his YouTube videos or you watch it show Ridiculousness and people trip or fall off or something. You know it's not good, but you still makes you laugh anyway.
Yeah.
Whenever Thanos is inflicting some kind of pain on someone, it looks funny.
We get it. Ridiculousness is one of our favorite, like, guilty, pleasures. Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, these people doing this stuff voluntarily. Like they're jumping off stuff. They're trying to go down rope swings and bungee jumping. And you're like, what are you doing?
Right.
They do it anyway, and it's just funny. So that's what Thanos is like, yes, I see what I'm going to do to you. It's going to be funny. And then I'm going to have world domination, and that's just what's going to happen anyway.
But he also gives respect to those who know or at least have come close to besting him. Like even in the Marvel movies, the big Marvel movies where Josh Brolin plays his voice and everything.
Yeah.
And somebody makes him bleed for the first time. He's like, I'm impressed. It's like he gives credit where credit's due. So yeah, he's a very deep character for sure. There's a lot more than just like Angry Man, like you said.
Yeah, he's not just one note. He's laughing. He's going to get you. He's also serious. He's telling you what's going to happen. He gives you fair warning what he's going to do to you. If you don't do what he wants you to do.
This is how it's going to go down.
This is what's going to happen if you don't do what I want.
Right.
I gave you fair warning. Okay, next.
Few other questions. Actually, just about 2 more questions before we start wrapping things up for the hour. Like I said, it goes very quick. Star Wars. You were in The Mandalorian. We were talking about earlier. We showed a picture of your character, the Twi'lek. were you a Star Wars fan before you got on
I've been a
that
Star
role?
Wars fan since I was a child.
God bless you, brother.
Yeah.
I've
Love it.
always loved
That's
Star
great.
Wars since to seeing the first movie, and I have not stopped since.
What do you
What's
think
your
about
favorite
Darth Vader?
movie? Which one?
We're firing them off
Yeah.
here.
My favorite is Empire, and Return of the Jedi is my favorite of it. All
That's
time.
my favorite. Yep.
Return of the Jedi. That wraps it all up in a nice bow. Darth Vader gets his revenge. He gets to come back to the light side. All the good
Right.
stuff, Princess
Yeah.
Leia finds out who her brother is. All this kind of stuff. Even though she kissed him in the first movie, which people don't realize. People don't think about that very much, but that's what happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've thought about it
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
You kissed your brother, lady.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to make
Exactly.
this other guy jealous.
That was the reason why Han had that look on his face when Leia told him Luke's my brother. He kind of had that like, but wait a second.
Huh?
You kissed him on Hoth. Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay now. You can be mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was
You tell Luke, is that you can tell?
right. That's right. Yes.
You
So,
love him, don't you? Well, yes.
yes, he's my brother.
Okay, when he
What?
gets back, I won't get in the way.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. He's admitting defeat finally. Right. Even though
It's
he's
okay
like
when he gets
he's
back.
the rogue. It's like, oh, I'm gonna strut my stuff, and I'm the bad guy. She likes bad guys. Oh, but wait, now there's this puny little Jedi in the way. So because you were such a fan of Star Wars before, what did it feel like to actually finally become a part of the Star Wars universe?
Oh, well, that was great to be on the film, but that wasn't the first time I've been a part of it. I did a show back in Orlando where I did the voice of Thanos, the voice of Darth Vader.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I was Darth Vader for a show when I was in Florida. And I also played Darth Vader in that show too. So it was good.
For a
It was-
show,
it was-
though, like were you behind the curtain on a microphone or something? How did that
No,
work?
we recorded it, but then I came out in the Darth Vader outfit
Oh.
also. It was at Universal Studios, and they used to have the Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure during the Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, okay.
Shows, and I would play Darth Vader. I did Darth Vader in this voice one year, so I did the
Gotcha.
recording. And when I came out, the recording came over the speaker and all that kind of stuff. It was pretty good.
I never knew that about you, man. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like I'm sitting with the one Darth Vader, and I know another Darth Vader now. That's awesome.
I've done Darth Vader's voice for other things too, but that was just fun that time. Yeah.
Well, that totally makes sense.
Mhm.
That totally makes, you got the voice for it. You got the deepness. And then kind of getting towards the end of it here, I want to talk about Disneyland. You like to go to the parks at all? You like to visit the attractions and things like that at all?
I don't go to Disneyland very often. I've been a few times. I used to work at Disney World, by the way.
Oh, doing what?
I did the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular there.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Were you
From
good guy, bad guy?
1994 to 1998, I worked at Disney World at the Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular. I played the German mechanic who fought Indy around the airplane and got shot by propellers. I played that
Nice.
character. I played the guy who jumps up with a sword and gets shot. I
Uh-huh.
played the director of the show. I played the first AD of the show, and I also played the demolitions expert.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an equity show, so it was great, and that was great working on that show because that show afforded me to be able to live in Florida, but also save enough money to move out to California. So when I moved out here, I didn't need a job for 2 years, but I had a job waiting for me at Universal doing the Wild West Stunt Show and the Waterworks show here at Universal in Orlando and here in LA.
Seen
But
that
yes,
many
I
times.
working at Disney was able to make me pay off all my debt whatsoever, and then save enough money to not need a job. So I wasn't gonna be that guy who moved to LA with $500 in my pocket in the dream. I always came out with a plan. I was going to have a plan, and really started trying to hit the ground running without having to worry about how I'm going to script and save just to survive here.
So in a monetary fashion, you are definitely a Disney fan.
Yeah, I enjoyed Disney. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff there, and it was neat to have the card and go on campus and see the various shows and things like that they have over there. They've got some great artists over there. Yeah.
That's great. Now, is that where you kind of started getting into stunt work? Because I know you said you did stunts in films, but where did it all start? Was it kind of with these types of shows?
Yeah, when you're on these kind of shows, you learn how to fall, you learn how to fight, stave combat, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I worked at Universal and Disney doing those. So yeah,
Any injuries that came from them or anything like that?
nothing major.
No,
Good.
Good.
scrapes,
Nothing major.
bumps, stuff like that.
Yeah, you just normal things if you were just to fall down by mistake, or just that kind of thing. But it's fine. Yeah.
Right. No professional training though, or anything. They just said like, here, this is what you got to do, and tuck and
Well,
roll or anything.
It is professional training. They have real stunt guys working out there.
Right.
It's not like hey, just act like you're doing that and fall down and I'll be the show. No, it was real training you had to go through before you even got signed off to be a part of the show. You had to actually go through these trainings and do it right, so that everybody knows that when you get on stage with everybody else, you're not going to injure somebody, they're not going to injure you. So yeah, it's all about the safety aspect of it.
Right. That's because you got to be able to come back and do it again.
Yeah, and when you got like during the summer, you like 12 days shows a day, 4 shows each shift. So you got to be able to do this and sustain it in the heat and all other things that are going on. So it's all about safety. But I also learned outside of just being on the theme parks. I learned by being on hanging out with other stunt guys and doing some things at other people's houses and learning other things too. But yeah, that was all of it was training. Yeah, I still train as an actor. I still train because I always want to keep my skills sharp.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're always learning. Even like the older that we get, I feel like the more that we're actually learning. Yeah. I feel like I didn't learn anything when I was younger. I learned everything that I need to know when I was older. But that's just through life experience. Yeah, right. Exactly.
That's what you think you know stuff when you're younger.
Right.
Definitely.
I didn't know anything.
Yeah. My kids even nowadays are like, having conversations with me like, oh, I remember when you used to say this and now I really see it. It's because you've experienced it. It's not just a matter of somebody telling you this is what it's like. It's you going out there and actually living it. And that is what really kind of gets us woke, so to speak. Andrew says, practice makes better, not perfect. Absolutely. That is definitely true. All right. So we know where we can find you to know all about your career. I always go to IMDb to kind of research everything that you've done. Do you have your own website? Do you want to like give any sort of like shout outs for anything that you might actually have besides on IMDb? Any social media?
My website is myname.com. Isaac C. Singleton Jr. or Isaac Singleton Jr. I have both. Okay. And then I have Instagram, which is Isaac Singleton Jr.
Awesome. Okay. And do you have any conventions or shows that you're going to be appearing at soon for autographs and photo opportunities, things like that?
No. I had one last weekend and 1 week before that, but I don't have any scheduled right now, so I'm looking forward to more. So if you know any, let me know.
I will let you know. All right, cool. So before I go, I'm going to actually ask you. Like I said earlier, I have this like kind of list of lightning round questions that I have asked people before, like favorite Disney attraction and favorite Disney line and stuff like that. But since you don't go to Disney parks all that often, I'm just going to ask, do you have any sort of favorite quotable line from any character you've ever done that you kind of flash back to when you're like, oh, I really loved it when this character said that, but you're the one that actually did that character?
There's another line I like from Thanos. There's a movie from Anger Management I like. Line from Anger Management I like. But yeah, Thanos, one of my favorite lines of Thanos is like people of Earth, the shadow of Thanos darkens your world. Submit to my will or perish.
So cool.
Awesome.
Can you do the one from Anger Management as well? Is it?
I love you in
PG
Anger
rated?
Management.
Seriously, sir, calm down.
That's it, huh?
I'm calm.
I'm not going to say
I am calm.
Sir, calm down. He yells, I am calm.
You people.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's it. You people.
Right. Yeah. That's a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm.
I love you at the end when he says, oh, was that guy part of it? He's like, no, he was just having a bad day. And you're like squished between people on the plane.
I remember that. And it was so funny because everybody wants their moment in film. So here I am squished between these two people already. We're going to film it. And the heavyset guy was like, because they're both heavyset people. And he's like, he's talking to the person. He's like, hey, director, can I like drool on his shoulder to make it million? I'm like, no, you don't need to drool on me. I'm like, no, you're not drooling on me.
Yeah, don't ask the director that.
Like,
too far, yeah.
And the director was like, no, we don't need you to drool on him. Like,
Good answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
He was trying to get You know,
It
he's
would have
like,
been a hell of an outtake, though. It would have been a hell of an outtake.
Oh no.
oh, sorry.
No, right?
Right.
I
Exactly.
elbow the guy in the face with my elbow. Oh, it twitches sometime. I'm sorry.
I have this nervous tick.
I
All
mean,
right.
drool gets me.
Well, that's all the questions that I got, ladies. Did you want to ask anything else before we start wrapping up here and saying goodnight?
No, I'm good. I love the stories, Isaac. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, what are your favorite Disney movies? You didn't tell me.
Oh, good Lord.
Who's your favorite ride at Disney?
Oh, we've said it many times.
Yep. I think it's unanimous between Lisa and I that it's Haunted Mansion. We're
Yes.
definite
Haunted Mansion,
fans of
okay.
the mansion. Yep.
Yes.
Leia hasn't been yet, so
It's
we are
my
hoping to
dream.
rectify that. We're hoping to rectify that by next year.
For
We
sure.
told her that we.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go with Jason and Lisa next year. That's the plan. So, Isaac, I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Sometimes actors who've been in Hollywood for like decades, they kind of like see stories and they get the urge to like become a director or a story writer. Have you ever gotten that urge to like make your own show or movie?
I have no
Question.
desire to be a director, but I do have desire to get some stuff written down and produced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't
Cool.
want to be a director.
What genre would you be interested in? Like if you like
I
helped
love
write one?
science fiction, because one,
Mhm.
it's international. You can sell it internationally. I like that. I'm
Okay.
thinking about the financial aspect of it, because you can write a good drama, but sometimes dramas don't translate overseas. Science fiction translates around the world. So does horror.
Mhm.
Rom-coms, comedy,
Yeah.
and they don't translate everywhere. So I'd like to do movies that translate all around the world, and sci-fi for sure. Action translates around the world also. So those are the kind of things I like.
Yeah.
Science fiction, action, and there's a science fiction and action together. It's great. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I feel like science fiction is also very timeless, especially a lot of the stuff that takes place in the very, very distant future, or even a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
And a
can
long
watch
time
it.
ago.
Yeah, exactly. So you
A
can
long,
watch
long
it,
time ago.
and it feels it's good no matter what generation watches it, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I love science fiction
Exactly.
as well. Yeah. All right, well that's pretty much our time, Isaac. I want to thank you again for taking the time off to being on our humble little show here. You've been a great inspiration to us and everybody that's been listening, and thanks for sharing all your stories. It's been a great pleasure.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. I had a good time.
Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Yes.
One more comment from Father here. Always impressed by the depth of your knowledge, Jay. Oh, thanks, Dad. Proud Papa moment, and I'll let him have that one for sure. Thank you all who are watching for being on another episode. This has been such a thrill. We love having a lot of people on here. We've had guests on every single episode this month.
Mhm.
Not our usual forte or our usual pattern, but we will be having we'll be guestless next week and picking a very fun Disney topic to talk about. But more guests are coming, guys. I've got lots of them in the can and ready to fire out. So stay tuned. For those who have not been watching the scrolling ticker along the bottom, make sure that you check out all of our designs that you can get slapped onto apparel or what else? What did I say? Mugs and hats and cell phone cases and stuff like that. A lot of them Disney inspired. On TeePublic, just do an artist search for main-gate-magic and you'll see all the fun stuff we got there. It'll help support the show a little bit. But until next time, we will see you guys all next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Lisa and Leia, of course, thank you as always for being my wonderful co-hosts. Isaac, again, thank you for being a wonderful guest. And we will see you guys all on the next one. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.